Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto become the god of fairy tale and got harem? Part 2. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. We are so funking lost, huh? Kara State questions Naruto as he looks at her while chuckling nervously. All the while Kagura was looking at him with disbelieving eyes. How can someone so strong get lost so damn easily? It's like, just how? I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure this is the right way, it says so on the map. Look. Naruto stated as he showed the map to Kara, who looked at it with one of her eyebrows twitching dangerously. You have the damn map flipped upside down, you idiot. Kara yelled while taking the map from Naruto. She then flipped it the right way, then handed it back to him. He then looked at the map, while his face was sporting a look of understanding. That's what they thought, at least. Oh, I still don't get this at all, I might add. He stated, getting a massive face fault from his two companions. They quickly stood up and Kagura took the map from him as her and Kara skimmed the map, both then sweat dropped at what they saw. How can he not understand this? At like point A to point B, all we had to do was follow the line and we'd get to our destination. They both thought as they then looked up at Naruto, who was now lying in the grass, gaze up at the clouds. I think I finally understand why Shika always did this. It's extremely comfy and calming, especially when you have two troublesome women with you. He said in thought as he allowed the girls to do the troublesome work, but he then noticed it was close to being dark out. Hey girls, why don't we find a place to set up camp for the night because it's starting to get dark? He stated, pointing up at the sky as the girls looked up as well, noticing he was right. They just nodded their heads. 1 hour later. Same forest elsewhere. Elfman, snap out of it please. Pleaded a young white-haired teen as she watched a large creature near her. It all happened in a blink of an eye. On second everything was fine, that was until her brother, Elfman, attempted a full-body takeover on the beast that had come out of nowhere, and her brother had completely lost control of himself. She had quickly told her little sister, Lysana, to get to safety while she saved their brother from himself, but that didn't go as planned. Why is this happening? He's not listening to anything I say, and he won't snap out of what to. She thought to herself until her face turned to one of horror when she heard an all-too-familiar voice. Marini, are you okay? Lysana asked as she landed beside her sister, who quickly began to plead with her younger sister to leave. Please Lysana, leave, I'll handle this on my own. She pleaded as Lysana just ignored her and walked in front of their out-of-control brother with her arms out to the sides. Elfnai, I know you can hear me, fight it and come back with me, and Marini please. She begged as the beast just looked at her strangely, as if trying to figure something out. It raised its arm, causing Marahan's eyes to widen in fear. Lysana. She yelled as the beast swung his hand down as it was about to touch Lysana. There was a flash of yellow, and everything froze. No one moved a muscle as Marahan couldn't believe her eyes. There in front of her sister was standing a man around the same age as them, holding his arm out, stopping her brother from killing her sister with just one hand. Looks like you two are in a bit of a bind. Naruto stated as he stood there, his eyes solely on the beast. He then pushed the hand off him as he jumped up, delivering a monstrous kick to the beast's face, sending it sailing for a few meters, then crashing to the ground. Marahan couldn't believe her eyes. This man had just saved her sister and sent her brother flying with just one kick. How strong was this man? You know, it's not nice to stare. Naruto stated with some amusement in his voice as the two girls continued to stare at him as if he'd grown a second head. They stayed this way until they heard. God, Naruto-kun, why do you always run off like that? We were looking for you for like an hour. You better have a good reason for running off like that, or so help me I will. What happened here? Kara stated as she and Kagura came into the clearing to see all the damage and what looked like a knocked out white-haired boy that they almost stepped on. Naruto-kun, who's this? Kara stated as she got on her knees and began to poke the downed white-haired boy's face with a stick she found laying around. Would you stop, Kara-chan, that not nice. Kagura stated as she tried to get Kara to stop poking the poor boy. This continued until they all heard a loud cough, bringing them back to the downed white-haired girl, who was now attempting to stand, only to have Naruto teleport over to her, helping her up. As Marahan leaned against the man who had just saved their lives, she couldn't help the blush that made its way onto her face when she looked him over. He had blonde hair, blue eyes, and what looked like whisker-like marks on his cheeks. Also, for some reason, he wasn't wearing a shirt, which caused her to blush even more from seeing his toned muscles and six-pack. Not being able to take it anymore, she just looked away, trying to push down her blush. Over where Kara and Kagura were, they both had large smirks on their faces as they saw this, both thinking, oh yeah, she wants a piece of him. But with Kara she added a little more. She's pretty hot too. She stated in thought, unconsciously licking her lips. Kagura, seeing this, just sweat dropped. She has me and Naru-kun, and she looks like she is about to jump. This girl, I seriously think she likes girls more than boys. Back over with Naruto and Mira. So what were you two doing out here anyway? Naruto questioned as Mira finally got control over her blush. She then straightened her back a bit to talk face to face. We were completing a job for a client to get rid of some unknown creature, but when we arrived, we were surprised and my brother attempted full body takeover that he wasn't ready for and he lost control of himself and almost killed me and my sister. And you know the rest. She stated as he nodded his head in understanding. Just then she looked over at her sister who was now checking if their brother was okay and it seemed that Elfman was waking up from the whole ordeal. Ugh, what happened? 1 second, I'm attempting full body takeover, then Elfman stated as all the memories came rushing back. His face took on one of horror that was until he looked around to see both of his sisters were fine, also some unknown blonde holding his sister up. Maybe we should get you guys to an inn or something, but you're going to have to tell me which way to go because I'm terrible with directions. He stated as Mira giggled at that, then later let out a surprised gasp when he picked her up bridal style as she unconsciously snuggled deeper into his chest. Later that night in some random inn. So you guys are fairy tale mages? Naruto asked with a dead serious tone that kind of scared the siblings who nodded their head and showed him their marks. I only one thing to say about that. He stated as they became even more nervous. Please show us the way there, I can't read a map and we got lost 4 times already and for some reason the girls won't read it for me. And I don't know why. He pleaded as he began to cry and I'm tears while bowing to them, causing the 3 siblings to sweat drop while Kara and Kagura giggled at the sight. You know there is a reason we never helped you. Kara stated as he looked at them waiting for an answer. Do you not remember what you said when you got the map from that man? She stated. Flashback 2 days ago. Thank you so much sir, you have no idea how much you have helped us. Naruto stated as the man nodded his head to the thanks, then waved them goodbye as he left. Okay, now on to Fairy Tail. Naruto stated as he turned around to face the girls who looked slightly scared. Naru-kun, you know I love you right? Kagura questioned as Naruto nodded happily. Well, out of all the things you can do, reading a map is not one of them. So maybe you should let me and Kara-chan read the map while you follow us. She stated as he looked at her like she was stupid. What are you talking about? I can read this thing like the back of my hand and I don't need any of your help at all. I'll show who can read a map, now off we go. He stated as he began to lead them out of the small village. Flashback end. Oh, so you didn't help me because of that. What if we would have been lost for years, what would have happened then, huh? He questioned, a little peeved they didn't help him because he said that. What they wanted him to do, they were insulting his pride as a man, of course he would have reacted that way. Oh well, me and Kachan were going to get you to give us the map after a week of being lost, but you broke down after 2 days, so we were going to make our way there tomorrow. Now seeing as they can now escort us, we have nothing to worry about now, do we? Kara said as Naruto was now in the corner of the room poking at a potted plant with a dark cloud above him. All they could hear were him mumbling about how people are so mean to him. Kara and Kagura then groaned. Not again. The last time this happened they couldn't brighten his mood until Kara and Kagura decided to have sex with him and he didn't brighten up till the middle of it. Come on Kara-chan, we have work to do. Kagura stated as the two then left with a downed Naruto. Let's just say he was back to his normal self in the morning. 2 days later in front of Fairy Guild. Wow, so this is Fairy Tail, huh? Naruto stated as he looked at the guild. It was a pretty large building, he could say the least. Yep, this is Fairy Tail, the best guild in all of Earthland. Lysandra stated excitedly as she pushed the doors open only to sweat drop at the sight that greeted her. Everyone was in a battle royal and it looked like the guild was in ruins. Haha, yeah, they kind of get out of hand sometimes. She stated as a girl with red hair and breastplate armor walked up to them glaring daggers at Mira. It's good to have you back, but I must ask, who is this with you? The girl questioned as Lysandra decided to tell the whole story quite loudly, if I might add, since everyone in the guild stopped fighting to listen to the story. Once she was done telling what happened on the mission, there was a good mixture of reactions. Some were surprised, others were worried, and some were amazed by the end of it. Several minutes passed by as everyone in the guild kept asking if the sibling were okay and if they needed anything. As all of this was happening, Naruto, Kara, and Kagura find themselves sitting at the bar inside the guild until they hear. You know, I would like to thank you 3 for saving my children. A voice stated as they looked to the bar again to see a little old man standing on it. No, it's fine, we were traveling here anyway, so why not help a future, potential family member? Naruto stated as the little old man raised an eyebrow from Naruto's statement. So he wants to join the guild, huh? Well, he certainly is powerful, he may even be a match for guilders, but I can't since he is suppressing a lot of his magic. Also I can say the same with his red-headed friend, they might even be a match for me together. He thought as he gave a grandfatherly smile on the outside. So you want to join this guild, huh? Well, you have come to the right place, son. My name is Makarov Dreyer and I'm also the guild master of the guild. The now revealed Makarov states as Naruto gains stars in his eyes. So you're the master here, can we please join this guild? Naruto yells please with the stars still radiating in his eyes. Makarov then strokes his chin while thinking of his answer, even though he already made up his mind on the subject. It was still fun to mess with his soon-to-be children as Naruto and company looked as if they were about to burst from the anticipation they were undergoing. It also seemed that the guild had quieted down as though they were waiting for his answer as well. After a good minute of this he finally spoke. "Well, I don't have a problem with it, seeing as you have already helped out my children," the three sighed in relief as Naruto also started jumping around like a fool until. "But I would like to see how well you three are in a fight to see what rank you three will be getting. We usually wait until we have our composition for S-class, but for some reason I can sense as you three are well into the range of S-class. So I would just like to prove my theory," he stated as Naruto stopped jumping and smirked. "Okay old man, how would you like to do that?" Naruto questioned as Makarov smiled at his excitement. "There's no way you are actually thinking of putting him as a S-class wizard, he just some little brat," shouted a fuming blonde-haired man from the top floor of the guild. Hearing this Naruto gained a tick mark on his head. "I may be physically 16, but mentally I'm 30 funking one. How dare he call me a brat. Plus this asshole only looks like 4 years older than me physically." Naruto raged in thought. "Hey, how about you come down here and say that to my face?" Naruto yelled as the older blonde scoffed as he jumped down. "I said there's no way a brat like you can possibly be S-class. You don't even look like an A-class wizard for that matter," Laxus said as he smirked. Off to the side Makarov was frowning. "Why do you always have to do this, Laxus, and please don't pick a fight with him, you may be my grandson, but I can tell he will beat you easily," Makarov said in thought as he watched the exchange. "Oh really now, and who might you be to say I can't be S-class?" Naruto asked as Laxus's smirk turned evil looking. "I'm Laxus Dreyer, and I'm one of Fairy Tail's S-class wizards punk," Laxus said with a beepy smirk which was mirrored by Naruto, while Kara and Kagura got slightly nervous. "I hope he doesn't kill this Laxus guy because every time I see that smirk, he always goes overboard," they both thought as Naruto stepped up. "Nice to meet you, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and if you're so confident that I'm not S-class material, why don't we have a friendly spar?" Naruto asked as all the guild began to fear for their newest member. Laxus just nodded his head and headed outside to a sparring ground with the rest of the guild following them. Over with Natsu, Gray, Levi, Kana, Urza, and the Strauss siblings. "Does this guy have a death wish? He just challenged an S-class wizard," Gray yelled as he heard the challenge. "I like this guy already. He has my vote," Natsu yelled as himself and Gray glared at each other. "Of course you like him, he's just like you challenging people blindly, flame brain," Gray yelled as they headbutted each other. "You want to fight, ice stripper?" Natsu yelled back until they both got socked on their heads by an annoyed redhead. "You two need to stop fighting," and Gray put some clothes on, she stated as Gray looked down and saw he was only in his boxers. He then began to frantically run around the guild looking for his clothes as Natsu laughed at him. "Yeah, but didn't you hear the master, he said that this guy may well be S-class already," Kana said as she downed another beer. "You shouldn't be drinking, it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Kana. What do you guys think of this?" Urza questioned as she looked over to the siblings who were now sitting calmly waiting to see what happens to their new friends. "I think Naruto will win, if he was able to take out Elfman with one kick, then he has my vote," Marahin said as she watched the conversation with her siblings nodding in agreement. Levi just stayed quiet and followed behind everyone. Back to the fight. "So how are we doing this, are there any ground rules?" Naruto questioned as he stood 10 feet away from Laxus with his hands in his pockets. "No, anything goes, just try to give me a bit of entertainment," Laxus stated as he got into a ready stance. As he waited for Naruto to get into a ready stance, he noticed the other blonde just yawned with his hands still in his pockets, causing Laxus to grow a tick mark. "Is he taunting me? How dare this little brat," he said in thought as he then decided to show this guy who he was messing with. "Raging Bolt," he yelled out as a large stream of lightning flew towards Naruto, who now seemed to think the ground was more interesting than the fight. When the attack connected, the lightning exploded outward, shocking everything in the area. "Ha ha ha ha, I knew he wasn't S-class material, he couldn't even dodge my attack, that will teach him to funk with me," Laxus stated as he began to walk back to the guild until he heard a strange noise, it almost sounded like some kind of eating noises. When he turned around, his jaw along with everyone else's dropped there where Laxus had just blasted sat on the ground eating his lightning like it was just an everyday snack. Thanks for the meal," Naruto stated as he stood back up. "Now that I've eaten, I'm all fired up," Naruto yelled, then sweat dropped to himself. Where the hell did that statement come from? He thought, then pushed that thought aside for later as he stared at a gaping Laxus. Now the fun can really begin. Naruto yelled as black lightning sparked around his body. "Yeah, Cliffinger. Did he just eat Laxus's lightning?" Gray asked as he stared at the blonde with disbelieving eyes. "How the hell did he do that?" "I think he just did, but that's a dragon slayer's ability, I think Naruto may be a dragon slayer," Urza stated as she continued to stare wide-eyed. No, that was something else. His magic does not give off the same a dragon slayer's would. Igneel thought me the way it should feel when I'm near another dragon slayer. His magic seems a bit darker of sorts. Natsu stated as he continued to stare at the blonde god slayer with calculating eyes. Urza and Gray stared at Natsu wide-eyed. Where the hell did the Natsu go, and who was this calm and calculating mage near them? Gray then walked up to Natsu and picked him up by the collar. Who the hell are you and what have you done with Flame Brain? Gray demanded as he shocked Natsu violently. What the hell are you talking about, Ice Boy? I'm here in your damn stripper hands. Natsu yelled as he pried Gray's hands off him with his feet finding solid ground. He then glared at Gray waiting for an explanation for his actions. There is no way in hell Natsu would ever have a calculating look on his face. I refuse to believe it. Gray stated firmly as Urza nodded her head in agreement. What the hell, Urza, are you really agreeing with Popsicle on this? Natsu asked as he stared at Urza waiting for her response. Oh, he got it, but not the one he wanted. Yes, I do agree with him on this now. Where is the Natsu we all know and love? She stated as she glared at the pink-haired boy. Aren't they taking this joke a little too far? Kagura whispered in Lysandra's ear, who looked worried for her pink-haired crush. I don't think they're joking. I told you that they sometimes get out of hand. This is one of those times. Lysandra stated as Gray and Urza started shaking the pink-haired dragon slayer. Kagura just nodded and went back to Kara's side, who was staring at Naruto with a worried look on her face. Why do you look like that? You as well as I know there's no way Naruto-kun would ever lose to him. Kagura stated, trying to comfort her harem sister with what she thought was worry for their lover. No, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried that he will go overboard and kill this guy. That gleam in his eyes is never a good thing no matter what. I guess it's my fault that he is like this because when he was younger I pretended to just be a bloodthirsty beast, and I think that mask might have rubbed off on Naruto-kun a bit. It's not enough that he would kill his opponent, but it's still enough to leave them close to death's door. Kara stated as she continued to stare at her lover with worry in her eyes. Once Kagura heard this, her eyes widened then later saddened. Naruto and Kara had told her about their past a few days after Kagura had decided to become Naruto's mate, and the she could say was that she was heartbroken that her lover had such a terrible childhood, but at least he was fine now, and that's all that really counts, right? Or at least that's what Kagura kept telling herself. She then looked over toward where Urza and Gray were holding a disoriented Natsu. She then narrowed her eyes on Urza. She looks familiar, but where have I seen her before? She questioned in thought as she turned back to see Laxus had finally come out of his initial shock. Back on the field. What the hell was that? Laxus demanded as he thought to himself. That looked like one of my Dragon Slayer abilities. I could probably show my abilities in Dragon Slayer magic, but I think I'll keep that as a trump card later on in life. Plus I don't need Dragon Slayer magic for this little punk, I can take him without it. Laxus declared in thought as he glared at the grinning God Slayer. You ready yet, Laxus-chan? Asked Naruto with a grin still plastered on his face. He got his reply as Laxus sped towards the lightning body as all Naruto could really see was sparks of lightning. He then proceeded to dodge as quickly as needed. He didn't need to show them his true strength yet, and for some reason, Laxus gave him a bad vibe, so he didn't need to know how strong he truly was. As Laxus finally appeared in front of him, they proceeded to trade blows. That Laxus had his hands inked in lightning, as Naruto had his inked with wind. The viewers of the fight could also feel the wind around them pick up as Naruto and Laxus continued to trade blows. Makarov then narrowed his eyes as he noticed this. The boy is building up a lot of wind magic for something, because I can tell the wind around them is beginning to turn into a hurricane of sorts. It's barely visible, but it's still there nonetheless. Makarov stated in thought as he continued to watch the fight. As Naruto continued to trade blows with Laxus, he noticed his attack was almost ready, so he would just need to hold off for a bit longer. He then jumps back, narrowly dodging a lightning storm that seemed to be growing in size, shooting lightning in random directions. Not wanting to show too much of his God Slayer magic, he decides to yell. Wind compressor. As a large sphere of wind formed around the lightning storm, he then proceeded to close his fist that he had open, which caused the sphere of wind to shrink in size, also causing the lightning to shrink as well until there was nothing but a small sphere of wind the size of a baseball with a tiny lightning storm in it. Naruto proceeded to make a flicking motion with his fingers as the ball raced towards a stunned Laxus. When the ball connected with Laxus, the ball then exploded, sending a stunned Laxus flying into a boulder as it then cracked from the sudden pressure placed upon it. Is this all you've got, Mr. S-Class? Because I was told the S-Class wizards were the best of the best. Also, I'm not saying you're not S-Class material, but I am saying you shouldn't be so beepy when you don't know the detail of your opponent. I know all about you, Laxus-chan. You became S-Class at the age of 6. You are very well known for your ability in lightning magic. You are the grandson of the master of the guild, and I also know a little secret not many know of you, Mr. Artificial. Naruto stated, saying the last part quietly so only Laxus would hear it, as he then looked down to the growling Laxus. How does he know about that? He growled in thought. Oh yeah, and who are you? Well, because I never heard of you anywhere, someone of your skill level wouldn't be able to stay off the Magic Council's radar for long. Laxus stated as he tried to calm himself down. Naruto just smirked at that as he decided to give him a little information about himself. I don't know, have you heard of the Golden God along with Crimson Devil and the Sheathed Blade? Naruto asked as Laxus and everyone in the guild widened their eyes at that. On the sidelines. Those three names he just said are the names of a group made of 3 people who have been going around wiping out dark guilds and telling the authorities once they finished disabling all those in the dark guild. Urza stated, still wide-eyed from the statement, as Makarov decided to add a bit more information. Yeah, they were only a group of 2 consisting of the Golden God and Crimson Devil, until around a year ago another joined them named the Sheathed Blade. The council says they are 3 highest class mages. It's also rumored they got into a fight with the leading dark guild Grimwar Heart because they wanted to recruit the 3 of them. The council was having someone follow them at the time because they didn't know if they were safe to leave unwatched, but after that event they decided it would be safer to not have someone risk their life just to follow 3 monsters around, as they put it. In the fight with Grimwar Heart, I heard they managed to injure 3 of their main guildmates, along with getting out completely fine. They also stated that the Golden God was on par with a wizard saint. Makarov stated as he looked at Kara and Kagura, who were now looking a bit nervous from all the attention. You guys are those 3 mages, huh? He asked as Kara and Kagura looked at each other, then back to the guildmaster, nodding their heads. Yes, I'm Crimson Devil and Kachan here is the Sheathed Blade. Kara stated as everyone widened their eyes to her answer. So that makes Naruto the Golden God. Makarov stated, getting a nod from the 2. Well, that was defiantly enough to know these 3 were S-class easily. He didn't need to test them anymore, now knowing their identities. Okay, that enough, you 2, this fight's over. I already have made my decision on the matter. The master stated as the 2 began to walk towards the master, with Laxus being slightly peeved from losing, but at least he could understand why now. He was fighting the Golden God. Yeah, Laxus never lived under a rock, so he knew the entire story on this guy. He was an extremely powerful S-class wizard that the council had named S-class themselves, so it's not like they could say he wasn't. Okay, well, I'm glad to welcome you 3 to the guild. Now all I need to know is, where do you guys want your guild marks? Naruto was the first to come up, saying he wanted it on his left shoulder. Then Kagura said she wanted hers on her stomach since lately she had been wearing shirts that showed off her slim stomach, so why not, right? Kara came up last as she got hers put on her left thigh, causing Naruto and Kagura to raise an eyebrow as the old man giggled previously. All the while Urza was face-palming at her master. Yeah, this happened every time he put the mark on anywhere remotely perverted on a woman's body. Okay, now it's time to celebrate for the newest members of her family by having a party. The master stated as everyone cheered. 2 hours later, Guild Hall. Here we find Naruto sitting with Gray, Natsu, Elfman, Happy and Makarov, with Makarov just sitting on top of the table. They had decided to get to know the other members of the guild better, so Naruto went with the boys, while Kara and Kagura joined the girls at the bar. So how does it feel to be a member of Fairy Tail? Makarov asked as Natsu and Gray were too busy glaring at each other to join in the conversation. It feels good. Like, I know I didn't get along with Laxus, but I hope one day we can look eye to eye with each other. Naruto stated as he downed a beer. Makarov nodded his head, thankful the blonde would give his grandson another chance. Oh well, that's good, I guess. Tell, why did you guys decide to take out dark guilds before you joined here? Elfman asked as Naruto decided to tell him the truth. Well, we kind of felt a sense of justice in it because by clearing out dark guilds, we were lowering the possibility of them harming someone later on. Naruto stated as in thought he added. And I had to wait till I started aging again to join a guild in order to not raise suspicion. Oh well, that makes sense. Well, you didn't answer why you decided to join Fairy Tail. Elfman questioned as he noticed Gray was in only his boxers, still arguing with Natsu. Shaking his head, Elfman turned back to Naruto, waiting for his question to be answered. I guess we just wanted a place to call home, and a place that treats everyone like family, and Fairy Tail was the top choice for that. Naruto stated as Elfman and Makarov nodded their heads. Once they looked over to the 3 other occupants of the table, they noticed Gray and Natsu were both knocked out for some reason, with Happy sitting on top of the knocked out Natsu's stomach eating a fish. Happy, how did that happen? Naruto questioned, getting the little blue cat's attention, causing it to shift itself, so he was looking at the other occupants of the table. Oh, this, well, Natsu and Gray started fighting, then they ended up punching each other in the face at the same time, knocking each other out. The little cat chirped happily as it munched down on his fish. That's when Naruto looked and noticed the red marks on each cheek and sighed. That explains it. Do they always fight like this? Naruto questioned as Makarov nodded his head as Elfman decided to add something. Yeah, some people say it's because of their type of magic that they don't get along because Natsu is fire while Gray is ice, so I guess that's a theory. Elfman stated as Naruto nodded his head. Of Kagura, Kara, Murahan, Urza, Lisana, Kana, and Levi at the bar sitting in that order. So are you two, really both dating Naruto? Murahan questioned. She had been wondering ever since they had met, and it was time to find out. Yeah, is there a problem with that? Kagura questioned as she and Kara noticed the saddened look on her face after that. Yeah, we don't mind sharing because if someone loves Naruto-kun and they don't mind sharing either, then we say more the merrier, that's the least he deserves. Kara stated, whispering the last part that only Kagura heard, causing her to sadden as well. They also noticed that Murahan wasn't as down as before. So you guys really have no problem in sharing him? Mira asked, just trying to make sure she heard right. Kagura just smirked as Kara had a huge grin on her face. Kara then motioned for Mira to come closer as Kara leaned over a bit in order to whisper in her ear. No, we don't. Also, me and Kagura are both in a relationship as well. We won't mind if you want to join in the fun. Kara whispered quietly as she lightly licked Mira's earlobe, causing Mira's face to go beet red while having a small nosebleed. Urza, seeing this, got a little annoyed. Well, it's getting late, so we should probably head home. Urza stated as Lisana, Kana, and Levi nodded their heads while Mira was still in a daze until Urza kicked the stool out from under her, causing the white-haired girl to quickly stand up, too embarrassed to argue with her rival for doing that, as she quickly left the guild with Lisana following her. Kara and Kagura then decided to go find their blonde boyfriend. 1 hour later. It's nice of Master to let us live in the spare bedroom of the guild till we find a house. Kagura stated as Kara nodded her head, agreeing. Naruto was still in the bathroom finishing his shower since the girls went first. He then came out of the bathroom 5 minutes later, noticing the girls already asleep on the bed in very interesting position. There on the bed, Kara and Kagura were both facing the same way, with Kara behind Kagura, with her hands wrapped around Kagura's midsection, holding her closely as Kara's face was in the crook of Kagura's neck. They also were only in their panties, giving Naruto a very nice view. So Naruto decided he would get behind both of the girls, snaking his arms around both slim females, bringing them closer to himself. Good night, you two. Naruto stated as he put his face in Kara's hair, falling asleep as well. Tomorrow would officially begin their new lives in Fairy Tail. 2 years later, Act 784. Here we find Naruto Uzumaki slowly opening his eye as he comes back to the waking realm. As he begins to wake up, he feels the weight of 4 familiar bodies pressed against him. As he looks down, he smiles lovingly. There sleeping against him was Kara, Kagura, Mira, and Urza. The last 2 years were quite eventful for the last Uzumaki. From all the damn council meetings he was called to, but never really went, which really pissed off the council, so he decided he would go to the next one. Also the day he woke up to find Mira sleeping in his bed with a nude Kara, that was a great sight that he wished he had a camera in order to save it for blackmail on Kara, who still will not admit she likes her harem sisters a little more than sisters should, but Naruto was fine with it. It was kind of hot to watch. Then the day Urza had confessed to him was heartwarming and kind of funny at the same time. Flashback 1 year ago. Naruto-kun, can I have a word with you? Urza questioned as Naruto raised an eyebrow. Naruto-kun, where did that come from? He questioned in thought as he followed the now blushing Urza, who was having similar thoughts, even if she knew why, and today was the day to embrace them. As they walked in an awkward silence, Urza's mind was going a mile a minute. Okay, Mira, Kara, and Kagura have told me to go for it, and I have no problem in sharing, especially if it's Naruto. He's so nice, strong, brave, and he actually cares for his lovers. That's more than I can say for other men that would be in his situation. She stated in thought as she unconsciously started to rub her legs together that seemed to be heating up rapidly. Once they came open a riverbank, they stopped and Naruto had to ask something. Urza-chan, are you okay? Do you have a fever or something? Asked the ever so dense Naruto as he put his forehead against hers, causing her to blush harder as the feeling between her legs became stronger. Oh my god, I swear he knows what's happening to me right now and is just teasing me. She stated in thought as the overwhelming feeling to kiss him overflowed her willpower as she leaned in, capturing his lips. This caused Naruto to go wide-eyed as his jaw would have dropped if not for Urza's lips holding them there, but the small opening did allow her to snake her tongue in his mouth as she tasted him. Of course, should have known Raymond. She stated in thought as she giggled in the kiss, causing Naruto to come out of his initial shock as he wrapped his arms around her, causing Urza to snake her arms around his neck as she played with his wild blonde hair. This continued to increase in intensity till they needed air, causing them to come to their senses as Urza looked down, noticing her best plate armor was on the ground, with Naruto having his left hand sinking into her clothed right breast. This caused many different events as Urza and Naruto blushed a deep red as Naruto jumped back quickly, but when he jumped back, he tripped on a rock that was behind him, causing him to fall on his back, dragging Urza with him because he still had his arm wrapped around her. This caused Urza and himself to stare into each other's eyes as Urza laid on top of him. "I'm so sorry Urza-chan, I didn't mean for that to happen." Naruto apologized quickly as he was expecting Urza to get off of him, but was surprised when Urza hadn't made a move and just continued to stare into his blue eyes as they lay in the grass. Naruto then noticed her smell and blushed hard. "She smells just like Kara-chan, Ka-chan, and Mira-chan. Before we have sex, that must mean." Naruto contemplated until realization dawned on him as he looked back up at the heavily breathing Scarlet as she leaned down to his ear. "Naruto-kun, I want you to take me," she stated lowly as she blushed harder. "I think that how those people in those books I've been reading do it, but I hope I don't mess this up," she said in thought as she started to take her white shirt off, causing Naruto to quickly try to slow her down. "Wait Urza-chan, we are still in public. We can't do this here," Naruto said as it seemed Urza didn't hear him or was too far in her lustful state. Thinking quickly, he grabbed Urza's shoulders as he teleported into his bed at home. He then looked up at the lustful stare the Scarlet was giving him as he just sighed. "Why all my mates so damn pushy? I would like to take one relationship slowly, but no, I get this oh well," he said in thought as he attacked the Scarlet, taking his and her clothes off quickly as he lay on top of her, kissing her all over. "Man, that was too close, I couldn't have taken all four. I'm tired from just Urza-chan, and I just got back from a solo S-rank job, I just want to rest," Naruto stated to himself as he walked down the street. Then an idea popped up. "Maybe I should just go see how happy Aunt Natsu is doing and spend the night there," he stated as he nodded to himself, walking towards Natsu home. The next morning Naruto had a stern talking to from the girls about switching himself with clones that only lasted for 2 hours and left them unsatisfied. Oh well, didn't stop him from doing it every time, he was too tired for it. Flashback end. Hearing a loud knocking, Naruto teleports to the front door, causing all the girls to cuddle into each other instead of him. He then looks down to make sure he was still clothed in case the girls did something. He then nods to himself as he notices he still had his clothes on. Once Naruto opened the door, he finds a panting Natsu standing there as if he had just ran 20 miles. "Yes Natsu, you needed something buddy?" Naruto asked as the teen looked up at the blonde. He then puts his hands on Naruto's shoulders as he looks at him dead in the eyes. "Naruto, I have a request," Natsu stated as he looked dead serious. Naruto just raised an eyebrow, motioning for the pink-haired teen to continue. "I need to stay here for a few days because Lysana is out of control, man, she has all these mood swings and now she says we can't have sex. I don't know what to do," Natsu stated while crying in tears as Naruto stared at him like he was stupid. "You know Mira-chan lives with me, right?" Naruto questioned, getting a nod from the teen. "Okay, good, just making sure. How long have you been living together anyway?" Naruto questioned. 3 weeks now and she has never been this moody," Natsu stated as Naruto then put a finger to his chin and thought. "Have you noticed anything weird when you entered the bathroom these few days she has acted like this?" Naruto questioned as Natsu nodded his head. "Yeah, every time I go in there I can't get the smell of blood out of my nose. I think she might be cutting herself now," Natsu said as he started to overreact. Meanwhile Naruto was having a hard time holding in his laughter. The poor kid has to deal with his first case of a women's time of the month. I don't blame him though, when the girls have theirs I just want to get the hell out as well," Naruto said in thought as he decided he should give the poor kid some advice. "Okay, listen Natsu, when you talk to Lysana these next few days be extremely careful with your words, okay, because this happens to every young woman once a month, so when she is like this, I guess you can say she is like a ticking time bomb, so just don't piss her off, okay?" Naruto stated as Natsu now had a notebook named Advice from Naruto-sensei as he was writing furiously while nodding his head. He then closed the notebook shut as he said goodbye to Naruto and decided to go back to the house to confront the time bomb that was waiting Lysana. When Naruto finally closed the door, he broke out into a fit of laughter as Kagura was coming down the stairs staring at him strangely. "Naruto-kun, are you okay?" she questioned as Naruto just shook his head. "Yeah, I'm fine, it just they grow up so fast," Naruto stated while wiping a lone tear away as he went towards the kitchen to make breakfast, leaving a confused Kagura in his wake. 2 hours later, Fairy Tail Guild. Here we find Naruto in Makarov's office staring at a humming Makarov. "Master, you called me here for a reason, right?" Naruto questioned as Makarov looked at the blonde god slayer. "I think it's time you showed us your tire magic, Naruto," the master stated as Naruto looked at him confusedly. "What do you mean you already know my true magic?" Naruto stated as he looked at the master questionably. "I mean the whole guild, not just me and the select few you have chosen," stated Makarov as he giggled previously at the end, causing Naruto to twitch an eyebrow. "Perverted old man," Naruto said as he nodded his head in understanding. "Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, it's time for the world to know how truly powerful Fairy Tail is with me here," Naruto stated as Makarov nodded his head. Well, I will have you fighting Gilderts when he gets back. He sent me a message saying he was on his way back anyway, so it's only a matter of time, but who knows, you may have to show your magic off before then. Also, it seems the Magic Council wants to meet with you again. They still don't know what you look like, and they are beginning to get pissed, so you better go this time. Makarov stated as Naruto nodded his head as he stood up, giving Makarov a peace sign, teleporting towards Ira. Ira? So this is what this place looks like. It's pretty big. Why do they need large towers just for meetings? Naruto questioned as he walked into the building. Once he was inside, he stopped frozen in place as he stared straight at an equally stunned girl with long black hair and brown eyes. Naru-kun. You-chan. Naru-kun, Ultier gasped out as she stared at the blonde-haired god slayer in front of her. You-chan. Naruto said, equally surprised as she was, until he noticed her face turn red in anger as she stomped towards him. Calm down, You-chan. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. He yelled out as she grabbed by the collar as she dragged him into a secluded room. As she threw him into the wall, she then proceeded to slam her lips into his as she instantly forced her tongue into his mouth as she wrapped her arms around his neck, attempting to mend their bodies together as he deepened the kiss. Naruto, finally coming out of his initial shock, began kissing her back with an equal amount of force, getting a mold from the young council member as she wrapped one of her legs around one of his as she began to melt into the kiss. After a good minute of this, they broke apart for air as they came back to their senses. As Altair regained her anger visage as she glared at the slightly shivering god slayer. Where have you been for 2.5 years? You were supposed to help me escape from Grimwar Heart when I contacted you. She stated as she continued to glare at him, causing him to flinch as B rubbed the back of his head. I kind of lost the lacrima you gave me in order for us to communicate. Naruto stated as Altair's face turned into one of rage and sadness. You lost it. I told you to keep it safe so you could come and save me when I thought the time was right. She stated as he looked down in shame. How could he lose something given to him by one of his mates, and to top it off, it could have costed her life if something went wrong. I'm sorry, You-chan, it just happened. I don't know how I lost it. I just did, and understand that you're angry and I don't blame you either. Naruto stated as Altair's eyes softened a bit from the apology. It's okay, Naruto-kun, I haven't decided it was time to leave yet, but the time will be soon. She stated as she hugged the Uzumaki, tightly snuggling her head into his shirt as she sighed lovingly. I promise I will be there for you always, and Kara-chan really misses you. Naruto stated as Altair smirked with a light blush on her face. Yeah, I miss her too. I haven't seen you two since I helped you guys get away from Grimwar Heart. That was a close one. If it wasn't for you guys injuring my guildmates, I could have been caught. She stated as he hugged her tightly. If that would have happened, I would have came back to you in a flash. All you had to do was contact me, because that was the day you gave me the lacrima. Naruto stated as he felt her nod against his shirt. Well, are you going to tell me the time you're planning on leaving, because I need to be there for you? Our favorite blonde stated as Altair looked up from his chest into his ocean blue eyes. I'm planning on leaving as soon as I right what I have wronged. She stated as Naruto gave her a questioning look. Before I met you, I was dead set on Grimwar Heart's goals and nothing else, so I ended up possessing someone, and now that I stopped, I thought he would go back to normal, but I think I may have ruined his mind. I have to fix this somehow. She stated as her eye began to tear up towards the end. Naruto just pats her head as he speaks. I'm sure you'll find a way, and if you don't, you always have Kara-chan and we will be there for you always. Naruto stated as he ran his fingers through her silky black hair. Maybe we should get you to the meeting before they think you decided to blow it off again. She stated, giggling at the end. Yeah, I know, let's go so I could ignore them and then leave. Naruto stated as he walked out the room with Altair following him. Council meeting room. As Naruto walks into the room, he looks around himself to see 9 figures staring at him. Most had scowls on their faces, while a few were smirking. Once he gets to the middle of the room, he just stands there lazily with his hands in his pockets as he looks around himself. Then he suddenly pulls out a little orange book as he begins reading while giggling previously. This causes the council members who had a scowl on their face to deepen as the ones who were smirking to grin. Is there a reason you have called me here today? Naruto questions in a bored tone as he continues to read his book. We would like to question as to why you have never answered our summons before first. One member questions as Naruto gives him a lazy look. I'm lazy. He says, simple as half the council members face fault, while the other half chuckles from his response. Okay, now that I answered that, what else is there? He questions as he turns his attention back to his book. We would like to know what kind of mag. Stop right there. Naruto yelled as he glared at the council member. I will not tell you my magic type. He stated firmly as the most of the council members glared at him. And why not? One asked as he turned towards them. Because I don't want and I don't have to. So if this is all the council wanted to see me for, then he trailed off as he flashes behind Altair, wrapping his arms around her, getting a squeal out of her. Would you like to go on a date with me? Naruto whispers in her ear as most of the council raises their eyebrows, while one blue-haired man narrows his eyes. Of course I would love to go on a date with you. Altair all but squealed as Naruto then flashed the council a peace sign as he teleports out of the chambers, causing many members to sweat drop as they all decided to leave as well, since it seemed their reason for being there was no longer present. No one seemed to notice that the blue-haired council member stayed behind glaring at the floor and thought. What the hell kind of relationship does Altair have with a fairy tale mage of all things? I will have to speak with her later on the subject, but for now I need to continue watching from afar in order to see when to put my plans into action. Not much longer now. He said in thought as he nodded to himself while walking out of the council chamber. Nearby town with Naruto and Altair. So how's my little Yu-chan been doing? Naruto questions as he grabs her hand pulling her along the way as she smiles happily. Well, I've been trying to lay low for the past few months until funking Hades made me join the council and I didn't want to seem suspicious so I did it and now I'm on the council. She finished with an annoyed look on her face. Well, how about we have some fun to lighten the mood? Where would you like to go? Anywhere is fine, I don't mind. Naruto stated as he looked at Altair who had a look of an innocent child on her face. As he looked at that face he knew that his wallet was about to take a huge fall, but at least it was for one of his girl's happiness. So he just gave her his hand as he allowed her to pull him to the place she wanted to go. She pulled him around for quite a bit till he found himself in front of a lingerie store with a disbelieving look on his face. No, don't make me go in there. He begged as Altair's eyes gleam with mischief as she dragged him in the store with her. Once in the store Altair sat him down in front of one of the changing rooms as she went off to go find some outfits to try on. As he sat in silence he noticed the other girls in the store glaring at him as he sighs to himself. The last time I did this with Kara-chan the same thing happened until I was chased out of the store, well they were calling me a pervert. He then stood up randomly with an evil smirk on his face. She is going to regret funking with the Uzumaki Naruto. He thought as he left the store as he put his plan into action, but not before leaving a clone to take his place. A few minutes went by until Altair came back with a teasing grin on her face as she showed him her set of undergarments she was going to model for him as he blushed a bit from it as she then walked into the changing room in front of him. As she was changing she heard the changing door open as she heard a woman's voice speak up. Miss, do you need any help at all? The woman asked as she poked her head in seeing Altair in only her panties as her D-cup breasts were waving freely in the air. Yeah, actually, would you mind finding me a few more outfits that would most likely make any man die from a nosebleed when seeing me? Altair asked kindly as the blonde woman nodded her head going to find some more clothes for the time mage. A few minutes passed as the blonde lady came back as she walked into the changing room with a few more pairs of undergarments as she secretly locked the door behind her as a small amount of wind magic flew around the changing room, making sure no one could hear what was happening inside the room. As she walked up to the oblivious time mage who was too busy admiring herself in the mirror to notice. Altair then let out a surprised squeak as she found her breast being grabbed by the smirking blonde woman behind her. You have some nice tits, miss. The blonde whispered seductively as she continued to feel the time mage up as Altair began to moan from the feeling of being groped. This lasted until the woman stopped as Altair then turned around to see a smirking Naruto standing where the blonde woman once stood. Wow, Yu-chan, I think you have developed some of Kara's likes in the time we spent together. You didn't even push me off when I was in that form. Naruto said with a teasing smirk as Altair blushed a bright red as she stuttered out a response. No, it's not like that at all. Altair trailed off as she was thinking of an excuse to use, but found none as she just sighed as Naruto began to laugh, causing her to become as red as a tomato until she noticed the wind barrier around the place, causing her to smirk. So did you put that barrier up to block the sounds from getting outside? Altair questions as Naruto then stops laughing as he looks at her smirking face, causing him to gulp a bit as he nodded his head. Well, Altair started as she got down on her knees pulling his pants down to see a slightly hardened tool under them. Let's have a little fun. Altair stated as she wrapped her moist lips around his hardened member as she began to move her head back and forth as her sucked on his now rock-hard member. After about 20 minutes of lovemaking in the changing room, Naruto decided it would be far too embarrassing to just walk out the changing room they had spent 20 minutes in. So he just unlocked the door and teleported him and Altair to one of the secluded corners of the store as Altair then went pay for her undergarments as her and Naruto then left the store, leaving the smell of sex drifting around the store since the wind barrier was no longer keeping it in that one area, causing it to now spread around the store. Well, that was an interesting way to spend an afternoon. Naruto stated with a small blush on his face as Altair just had a large satisfied smile on her face. They walked around town for another hour or so until they noticed it was getting dark and Altair had another meeting she had to attend to, effective cutting their date short. So Naruto and Altair then walked to the council building making small talk until they reached the place with Altair sighing sadly. Don't worry Yu-chan, you said yourself we will be seeing each other soon. Just remember to contact me when that time come and I will make sure not lose this round. Naruto stated, waving the communication device around as Altair gently punched him in the arm, causing him to look at her in mock hurt. Why hit me like that, what have I done to ever to such harsh treatment? Naruto complained as Altair just rolled her eyes at his antics. That was just a warning, you better not lose that one, okay? She said and then wrapped her arms around his neck, bringing him into a heated kiss as he gladly returned it. Once the kiss ended she pulled her head back, then laid it on his shoulder as she sighed happily. And that was for such a great date, I can't wait to see you again Naru-kun. She said as she then turned around heading back to the council building with an extra spring in her step which caused Naruto to smile, knowing he was the cause of it. Well, I'm not needed back at the guild for another week or so. So this would be a good time to train on mastering that move I've been working on for a while now. Naruto stated as he began to walk off into the distance, never noticing a blue-haired man had watched the entire exchange between Naruto and Altair. I have to find out if he will be a problem in my future plans or not, and if I can really trust Altair to be useful to me. And if not, I will eliminate both of them, no one will stop me from bringing you back Zero-sama. He stated as he walked into the council building as well, still thinking on how he would figure out if his assistant was useful or not to his cause. 1 week later on some random mountain in Earthland. We find Naruto panting slightly as he stared at the damage his newest technique had done, and he can say the least that was impressed. Damn Sasuke, if this was your ending result as well, then I feel bad for the person you used it on. Naruto thought to himself as he looked up to the sky to see it clearing up as the sun was coming out shining on his face. What a beautiful day, it just makes you want to forget all of your problems and just watch the clouds pass by. Naruto stated in thought as he flashed to a grassy field that was located on that mountain as he just laid there staring at the clouds with a peaceful look on his face. Why couldn't every day be as peaceful as this day? Oh wait, I know you can never have a peaceful day with so many troublesome women around you that won't seem to let you rest at all. Oh well, it's not like I didn't ask for it and I love all of them and wouldn't trade them for anything, even for peace and quiet. He thought with a loving smile on his face as he closed his eyes, just enjoying the breeze passing through his hair. Why do I always find you lying in the grass every time? You still haven't changed after all these years. A voice stated behind Naruto as his eyes flew open, turning around to see the newcomer who was grinning at him with an eye smile. No funking way. Naruto stated in thought as he stared at the newcomer with wide eyes. Geez, or I just get back from my escort mission of those overgrown lizard and come to find my favorite student and get no hey I missed you. Or how have you been? No, I just get you staring at me like I'm some ghost. The newcomer stated as he wiped an imaginary tear that was running down his cheek. I understand, I will leave and you won't see your poor sensei again. He stated in mock sadness as he turned around pretending to walk away until he was behind a tree waiting for Naruto's reaction. Oh, he got it, but not the one he expected. Once Naruto got out of his trance he looked around the field and rubbed his head as he said to himself. Man, I could have sworn I saw one of the most annoying people ever just now, but apparently it was just a daydream or something. Naruto said out loud as he lay back in the grass to relax. While he did this, the newcomer gained a giant tick mark as he walked out of the trees over to the relaxing blonde. When he was only a few feet away he yelled. Lightning God's bellow. As he sent the large stream of black lightning straight at the now battle-ready blonde that quickly yelled wind shell. As his whole body was covered in wind, taking the attack head-on, causing a small explosion. Yeah, how's that for a daydream, beephead blondie? The stranger yelled as the smoke cleared, showing Naruto with an angry look on his face until he saw the person again, causing him to gain a bored look. Oh, it was you, I wasn't daydreaming after all. So how's it been, Rai? Naruto said lazily as he laid back on the ground staring up at the clouds as Rai just pouted. All that planning I had put into this meeting, he just has to go and ruin it for me. He complained in thought as he laid down next his fellow blonde. Well, I have been doing good, we just got back from my escort mission and now I'm back for good. He stated as Naruto just nodded his head as he continued to stare up at the clouds. Until Rai spoke up again. Naruto, I have to tell you something very important. And what would that be? Naruto questioned as he lazily opened one eye, taking a side glance at the nervous Rai. Wait, nervous da fuck. Naruto then sits up as he stares at the now fidgeting Rai. Man, are you okay? Naruto questioned again as Rai sat up as well. Yeah, how do I put this, you know I'm a god, right? Rai questioned as Naruto gave him a deadpan stare. Yeah, no shit, you're a god, I trained with you for 10 funking years. Could you just get to the point of this conversation? Naruto pushes as Rai still seems a bit nervous but continues on anyway. Well, that's the thing, gods, how do I put this? Gods have no gender. Rai stated as Naruto looked a little annoyed. Would you get to the funking point, jeez? Naruto yells out in annoyance from his friend beating around that damn imaginary bush. Okay, calm down. Well, as I was saying, gods have no gender, and we kind of switch between genders every 100 years. Rai stated as Naruto looked at him with a look of understanding. So you're still going to be the same old Rai, just girl instead of a guy, right? Naruto questions as he sees Rai shake his negatively. No, when I say switch genders I mean everything about me changes. I'm still going to have all my memories as usual, but the way I will interpret them is as if I was a female. What I'm trying to say is that once I turn into a girl I won't think as a guy anymore. It will be like you're talking to a girl, and if you never knew I was a guy you wouldn't figure it out either. Rai stated as Naruto just stared at him with calculating eyes. So you're telling me that once into a girl you won't act the same? Naruto questioned in a slightly depressed tone until Rai spoke up. No, I will still have my same personality, but I'm going to have a more girlish side of it instead of how it is now. Rai stated as Naruto seemed to brighten up from this new discovery. So what's the problem? Well, if you're going to have the same personality just a little different. Naruto questioned as Rai seemed to become nervous again. Yeah, the problem is I don't know how my female side will react to the memories I have with you. I don't know if she will see you differently or not. Rai stated as Naruto nodded his head in understanding. So when is this transformation supposed to be taking place? Naruto questioned as Rai just stood up chuckling nervously. Yeah, well, you see, it was supposed to happen like a few minutes ago, but I wanted you to understand everything before it happened, so I guess now. Rai stated as he was surrounded by a blinding light that made Naruto have to turn his head away from the brightness. A few seconds later the light subsided, showing a slim woman with blonde hair that went all the way to her thighs. She had the same shocking yellow-colored eyes he remembered that looked like lightning was dancing inside of them. She had almost the same body type as Urza, but for some reason her breast was like a cup size larger. That almost made her body between the lines of beautiful and out of place, but he had to say she was well in the lines of beautiful. Wait, backpedal, this is Rai, what am I doing? He yelled to himself with a small blush on his face as he turned his head so he whatever didn't see the blush. Naruto-kun, are you okay? The girl questioned as she knelt down near the blushing blonde who still couldn't look her way. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine, Rai. He stated as the girl shook her head. Nope, I'm not Rai, I'm Ray, you see. She chirped as she started to fondle her own well-developed chest, causing Naruto to blush a dark crimson as a bit of blood dripped from his nose, causing Rai to smirk when she saw this. So Naruto-kun, are sick or something? Your face seems a bit red. She stated as she bent over with her now loosened kimono, showing a bit of her cleavage, causing Naruto to now look away in an attempt to control the now full-face blush. Once he noticed it wasn't going away, he looked around to find a way to cool off until he spotted a river. He then made a mad dash for the river, leaving a giggling Ray. Once he got to the river he stripped off his shirt and dived into the river that was freezing cold, but he needed it that way, so it did its job as he seemed to cool off. A few minutes later he dragged himself out of the river and just plopped himself down on the bank staring up at the sky. It stayed this way for a few minutes until he found his head placed into the lap of the root of the problem. So did you calm down yet? She questioned as Naruto nodded his head. So what you going to do now, Ray? Naruto questioned as he looked up into the yellow lightning-like eyes that were looking down into his blue ocean-like eyes. Call me Ray-chan, Naruto-kun, and I don't really know what I'm going to do now. I might go back to the mountain, but for some reason I just wanted to be with you. The best time of my life was with you, and I just wanted to continue having a friend instead of being alone again. Didn't you ever wonder why I was so willing to train you? It's because I've been alone almost all my life. The only time I actually felt alive was when I was training someone just to not be alone, but once they were done their training, they would always leave me, and we never had a relationship past student and teacher. That changed when you became my first student to ever see me as more than a teacher, and we actually became friends, so I really don't know what to do anymore, I just want to be with you. She stated as a few tears began leaking from her eyes. Meanwhile Naruto was again blushing from the way her words sounded. He was brought out of his stupor as he felt drops of liquid falling on his cheeks. He looked back up and then notices the tears falling from his best friend's eyes. Hey, it's going to be okay, I'm sure, just listen to what your heart is telling you and do it. Naruto stated as he began to stroke her cheeks in order to get rid of her tears. She just looked at him with widened eyes as she then began to blush a bit and look away from the now confused Naruto. Do you really think I should do that? She questioned as Naruto became even more confused. Yeah, you should always follow your heart no matter what. He stated firmly as he continued to stare at the blushing blonde above him. Oh, okay if you say so. She stated as she quickly leaned down and captured his lips in a heated kiss. All the while Naruto began freaking out and thought. What the hell, I thought she said she wanted a friend. This is not what friends do. Maybe I did interpret what she wanted right earlier. He thought as he soon felt her lick his upper lip asking for entrance. Naruto, being too confused to do anything, just let his body go into autopilot as he soon opened his mouth, allowing her to find her way inside. After a few minutes of this she pulled back, allowing the blonde below her to breathe and come to his senses. She was expecting him to yell at her or something, but he just stared up at her with a small smile. "You know it's going to take me a while to get used to you being a girl and all, but it's good to have back Ray-chan. So I can already tell you want to be with me, so come and join Fairy Tail with me and Kara-chan. I'm sure she wants to see you again, and with her little fetish, she will be even more excited that you're a girl now." Naruto stated with a wink as he soon gripped her hands in a comforting manner. "Ray-chan, I am always there for my friends, remember that, okay, and I will try to come to love you just as the others," he stated with the smile never leaving his face. This caused Ray to hug him tightly as she rubbed her cheek against his, causing Naruto to purr a bit from his whiskers, which got Ray to giggle before pulling back. "So what are you doing out here anyway, Naruto-kun?" Ray questioned as she finally decided to take in her surroundings. "I was just training a bit before I was due back at the guild, which is tomorrow," he stated as he closed his eyes, snuggling deeper into the blonde girl's lap, causing her to giggle as she began to play with his blonde hair. "So where have you been sleeping well?" she questioned as Naruto simply pointed towards the sky, which caused her to raise an eyebrow. Seeing her confused face, he decided to explain. "By wind magic, I mastered it to the degree that I can fly, and to train I decided I should try doing it in my sleep," he stated as she looked at him wide-eyed. "Oh my god, he mastered wind magic to such a degree that he can fly and use it in his sleep, that incredible." She soon smiled as she began to play with his hair again. "I knew he would become powerful. That's what I love about him," as she noticed the other blonde's breathing evened, showing he had fallen asleep in her lap. Not wanting to wake him, she slowly moved her body so she was laying down as well, then she slowly moved him so his head was resting against her stomach. Seeing that he looked okay with it, she allowed herself to fall asleep as well. Next morning. "So when you're leaving to go back, you said today, right?" Ray questioned as she stretched out her stiff limbs. Naruto just looked her way and smiled as he remembered their conversation last night. "Yeah, we will be there in a second," Naruto stated as he walked over to a confused Ray until he put his hand on her shoulder and mumbled two words that caused her to pale. "Flying Raijin." As they both disappeared in a yellow and black flash of lightning. Fairy Tail Guild Hall. Everyone was going about the day as they were celebrating the return of Mikao and the joining of their new guildmate Lucy, until everyone noticed the flash of yellow and black that caused many to turn their head in the direction of the flash to widen their eyes. The male of the two that they recognized instantly was not wearing a shirt for some reason. Then they noticed his arms wrapped around a blonde girl that looked to be in a really loose kimono. Yeah, it's not like it looked like they had sex or anything. They also noticed how it seemed they hadn't even noticed they teleported into a public place, as it seemed they were arguing about something. "God, you, how much I hate that technique, because if you don't remember the last time you used it, you were kicking my ass," the blonde girl said with a pout as she pushed the guy off her. "Oh come on, Ray-chan, it's not like you didn't deserve it for what you did to me and Kara-chan," Naruto stated as he soon gained a smirk as he noticed the blush spread across her face. He soon felt like he was being watched as he looked around and widened his eyes, seeing everyone in the guild staring at him and his companion. I could have sworn I teleported to the house, but it looks like I funked up somehow," Naruto stated as he rubbed the back of his head nervously. As soon as he said this, Ray looked around as well, noticing the stares as well, decided to ask Naruto what was up. Naruto-kun, what's up with all these people? They look like they have never seen another person before," Ray questioned as Naruto shook his head as he decided to greet them. "Hey guys, I'm back," he says nervously as he noticed how the stares were switching between himself and Ray, so he decided to introduce her. And this here is Ray. I guess you can say she was my first friend I made from being born into this world," he introduced her as he left a sliver of truth into his introduction of Ray. This seemed to calm everyone down, except four girls, one old master who had confused looks on their faces. "Oh, she also wanted to join the guild, and trust me, she is S-class material. She kind of helped me train when I was younger, and I still think she can beat me in a full-on fight." This caused many of the guild members to widen their eyes. Everyone in the guild knew that Naruto was just as strong as most of the wizard saints, if not stronger, and for someone to be stronger than him, this person must be a monster. With the master being the first one out of his shock answered. "Okay, she can join and will be put as S-class like you requested," he stated as Naruto could hear the underlined message that they needed to talk. "Thank you, master. I believe you need my report on what the council wanted," Naruto questioned, getting a nod from the old man. Naruto then grabbed Ray's hand and led her to the master's office, but not before motioning for the other four girls to follow. Once all of them were gone, Lucy walked up to the pumped-up Natsu. Natsu, who was that?" she questioned as Natsu looked at her strangely. "Who was who?" he questioned, completely confused on why she was asking that. "The blonde-haired man that seemed to just be radiating with power," she stated as Natsu seemed to understand now. "Oh, that's Naruto Nai, he's the strongest member of the guild, and he's also my sensei." Natsu stated as Lucy widened her eyes from this discovery. I never heard of him and I didn't know you had an older brother. She stated as Natsu nodded his head. Well, he's not really my brother, but he treats all of the younger generation as his own siblings. And for the reason you don't know him is because he doesn't let people know his real name, but I'm pretty sure you heard of him, he goes by the Golden God. Natsu explained as Lucy seemed to be frozen in shock. Master's office. Could you guys stop glaring at me please? Naruto questioned as they walked into the room to find that the four girls were glaring at him, as if trying to drill holes into his head for a second. He could have sworn he saw the spinning Sharingan eye in each of their eyes. This went on until everyone seemed to find a place to stand or sit in the room until Rei broke the ice by jumping on Kara. Oh Kara-chan, I missed you. She yelled as she hugged Kara tightly. Kara, finally coming out of her shock, pushed the blonde-haired girl off her and leveled her with a glare. I don't know what game you're trying to pull, but I don't know you, so funk off. Kara stated harshly, causing Rei to backpedal a bit and look down sadly as a few tears began leaking from her eyes. This all stopped when everyone besides the master and Rei felt a huge pressure pushed against them, but the only reason the other three were hit by it was because they were siding with Kara on the subject. At least they weren't hit by the full force like Kara was, which was the reason why she was trying to catch her breath, which seemed to be futile as Naruto spoke. Kara, that was completely uncalled for, and you do know her if you would have given her a chance to explain. Neither of us would even be alive and well in this world if it wasn't for her, so let her explain. Naruto said harshly as he lifted the pressure off the girls, causing them to breathe easily. Kara looked at Naruto in shock as she thought. He hasn't used Kai since we came to this world. I think I may have just screwed up big time. She said in thought as she lowered her head a bit in shame. Okay, that's enough. Miss, can you please explain your reasons for being here and your connection with Naruto? The master questioned with a smile on his old face. Well, to answer your question as to my connection with Naruto, this might help. She stated as her hand was consumed in black lightning, causing Kara's eyes to widen and feel even worse. I was the one that taught him God Slayer magic. She stated, causing the other three girls to be surprised, as well as Makarov nodded his head in understanding as he spoke with a slight smirk on his face. I guess you really are God, because in my long years I have seen many things and read many things. And one of those things was that gods have no gender, they just switch every century to keep a balance in their long lives. He stated as she nodded, showing he was correct in his assumptions. And for the reason I'm here, well, I just didn't want to feel lonely again, so I decided I wanted to spend time with my only two friends. She stated, sending a large grin to Naruto and a small smile to Kara, who looked devastated. Well, I see nothing wrong with you joining, so welcome to the Fairy Tail family, Rei. Now where would you like your fairy tail mark to be? The master questioned as Rei showed him her left forearm, saying she wanted it there. A few minutes later, Naruto's bedroom. Here we find Naruto, Kara and Rei all standing by the door of the bedroom, with Kara bowing to Naruto and Rei. I'm so sorry, I didn't know it was you, Rei. I would have never have done that otherwise. I just got a little jealous from the way you were hanging off Naruto-kun. Please forgive me. She yelled with her head still down until she felt someone hug her. When she looked up, she saw it was Rei with her face buried in Kara's hair. Of course I forgive you. You are one of my only friends and I would hate to lose a friend over something like that. She stated as Kara hugged her back. I missed you, Kara. You and Naruto-kun were always on my mind for the past 7 years. Rei stated as she soon pulled away, showing her smiling face until her and Kara were pulled into another hug by a happy Naruto. I'm happy you two made up. He stated as he let them go, then walked over to his bed. Now if you wouldn't mind, Kara-chan, can you show Rei-chan around and introduce her to everyone? Because I can't go anymore. Naruto finished as he fell face first onto the bed, falling asleep instantly with the two girls giggling. Come on, Rei-chan, time to show you around. Kara stated as she walked out the door, pulling Rei with her. 1 week later, Fairy Tail Guild Hall. Rei, Natsu, I need your help with something. Urza states in a commanding voice as she walks over to the fighting duo. Putting their fighting on hold, they look at Urza strangely. Why would you need our help? And there's no way I will ever go on a mission with flame fruit. Gray yells in outrage as he glares at Natsu. You act like I would want to go on a mission with you, Popsicle Peep. Natsu yells back until they were both bashed on top of the head by an annoyed Urza, causing them to face plant the floor. You guys are coming, it wasn't a question, now go get packed. Urza commanded as she walked away from the dizzy duo, who could only nod their heads. Urza then walked over to the conversing Lucy and Lisana, who seemed to be giggling at the guys, but instantly stopped when Urza walked in front of them. Lisana, Lucy, I would like you guys to accompany us as well to keep the boys in check. Well, I can't. Urza stated in the same commanding voice as before. All the two girls could do was nod their heads in agreement. Urza then began looking around the guild until she felt someone wrap their arms around her midsection, which caused her stiffen until she looked over her shoulder to see a grinning Naruto standing there. So Ur-chan, I heard you're bringing a few people on a mission with you. Can I come? Naruto asked with a giant grin on his face. He knew he didn't have to ask, that she would have let him go with her no matter what. No. She said, plain and simple, as Naruto's face faulted onto the hard unforgiving floor. Ow, that hurt. Naruto stated as he rubbed his face, then looked back at Urza with questioning eyes. Why can't I go? From the way you were looking around I assumed you were looking for someone else. Naruto questioned as Urza nodded her head. Yeah, I am looking for someone else. She stated as her eyes began to roam around the guild till they stopped on a certain red-headed vixen. And I just found her. Urza stated as she walked up behind Kara. Hey Kara, can you come with me on a mission today? I have a feeling I might need you. Urza questioned in a softer tone than the others. Kara, not seeing a problem with it, just nodded her head and was about to leave to go back until a certain depressed blonde walked up. Wait, so you asked Kara-chan and not me, why can't I come too? Naruto questioned in a depressed tone. Because if you came on this mission it would be overkill. Urza stated, causing Naruto's eyes to widen from this. So you're telling me because I'm too powerful I can't go with you? Naruto questioned as Urza just nodded her head with a small smile. Oh, cheer up, we just went on a mission together. She stated as she kissed him on the cheek, then left the guild with a giggling Kara following her. Yeah, and I didn't get to do anything beside carry the giant ass horn back. Naruto whispered to himself as he walked dejectedly over to the bar where Mira was working on cleaning the dishes. Hey Mira-chan, how you been? Naruto questioned in a depressed tone as he took a seat at the bar with Mira giggling at him. Naru-kun, you're acting like I wasn't in bed snuggling with you, like 2 hours ago, along with Kara and Urza. Mira stated as Naruto just groaned something that Mira didn't understand. What was that, Naru-kun? Mira questioned as Naruto lifted his head a bit to look at his white-haired lover. I know, I'm just bored is all. I haven't had any exciting missions since I came back with Ray-chan. I wonder when Ka-chan and Ray-chan will be back from their mission, it's been 2 days so far. Naruto stated as Mira nodded her head. Yeah, I think it's a few days long S-rank mission if I remember correctly. Mira stated as she got into a thinking pose, causing Naruto to sigh. Why does she have to look so cute and innocent all the time? Like seriously, if the people that read the magazine she stars in knew that she wasn't as innocent as she seems they would freak out. Naruto said in thought as he laid his head back on the bar, thinking of what he should do today. This went on for a good 5 minutes until a light bulb went off in Naruto's head, causing him to jump up in excitement, which also caused Mira to drop a glass she was cleaning on the floor, shattering it. Geez, Naru-kun, look what you made me do. Mira stated as she began to pick up the pieces off the floor, but couldn't finish because Naruto grabbed her and pulled her out from behind the bar. Naru-kun, what are we doing? She questioned as Naruto pulled her up to the second floor where they ignore a scowling Laxus and walked up to the request board that was placed up there. Mira-chan, you and I are going on a mission together. Naruto stated as Mira widened her eyes, but couldn't respond as Naruto had already grabbed a request and began to drag Mira out of the guild. Hana, can you please take care of the bar while I'm gone, and trust me, I will know if you touch the expensive stuff, and if you do I will cut you off. Mira yelled as she was dragged out of the guild by an exited Naruto. This also caused Kana to pale from the threat as she nodded her head, quickly understanding that Mira could do what she threatened. With Urza and company. I really don't know why you made us come with you, but I haven't been on a mission with you in a while. Kara stated as she was seated next to Urza on the train. Yeah, that's why I asked you to come with me, because I wanted to spend some time with you, otherwise I'm pretty sure me, Natsu, and Gray could have handled this mission on our own. Urza stated with a small smile adoring her face until she looked over to the seat where Natsu and Lisana was seated to see a green-looking and a panicking Lisana. Urza then walked over to the duo and knelt down in front of Natsu. She then looked at Lisana and spoke. You know how to make him feel better, right? Urza questioned with hidden smirk when she saw Lisana shake her head negatively. Urza then proceeded to punch the already disoriented Natsu in the stomach, and to her surprise, he just took the hit head-on and was still conscious. Damn, Naruto's training must be really helping him. I was expecting him to be knocked out from that one. But the problem was quickly resolved by a second punch to the gut that knocked him out as his body went limp into a shocked Lisana's lap. Okay, if you're done messing with the idiot, could you tell us what this whole mission was about? Gray questioned with an annoyed look on his face as he sat next to a quiet Lucy, who seemed to be in deep thought for some reason. Oh, I was just about to get to that. While me and Naruto-kun were on our last mission, I heard a few rumors that there's a demon flute in the hands of a dark guild, and we are the ones that are going to check it out. And if I remember correctly, the flute's name was Lullaby. Urza explained as Lucy seemed to pale from this, but kept her mouth shut for some reason. So we're supposed to just walk right into this dark guild and ask for the flute, and if they decline we can use force, right? Kara questioned with a bloodthirsty grin plastered on her face, causing everyone besides Urza to get a bit creeped out by this. Yeah, but Kara-chan, please try to not kill anyone, okay? Urza stated as Kara pouted. You're no fun, Ur-chan. Kara pouted as she went back to looking out of the window of the train. With Kagura and Ray. You know, I was expecting an S-rank request to be harder than this. All we've been fighting was bandits and low-leveled wizards. Ray stated as she and Kagura were escorting this rich merchant through Earthland. I know what you mean, something's not right with this. It kind of feels like every time we meet someone new, they're a bit stronger than the last. It's almost like Kagura trailed off as she began to think of the right words for it. Aging our abilities. Ray finished as she caught on to what Kagura was stating. Now that you mention it, I have noticed this as well. I thought it was just a coincidence, but now I don't know. Ray finished as Kagura nodded her head as well. Something wasn't right here. Let's just keep focused and protect the client to the best of our abilities. Kagura stated as Ray nodded in agreement. They continued traveling for a good 4 hours, as they had to occasionally fight a few wizards that indeed seemed to be stronger each time someone new arrived to attempt and kill their client. This continued until around noon when their client announced that they were going to be arriving at the town around late in the afternoon. The girls just nodded and hoped that nothing big would happen, but they couldn't shake the feeling of dread for some reason as they got closer and closer to the town. With Naruto and Mira. So what's the mission we're going on anyway? Mira asked as she was reading the map. Since you know Naruto can't read one. It says they've been having problems with a few wyverns in the area and we are to eliminate them. Naruto stated as he read it off the request. It shouldn't be that difficult for us, I just need to stretch my legs out, and so do you, Mira-chan. You have been behind that bar for way too long. Naruto stated as he looked over to Mira, who looked a bit down. Look, I understand you still feel it was your fault for what almost happened 2 years ago, but you can't let it keep you down for the rest of your life. It happens, everyone makes mistakes, it can't be helped. No matter how strong you are, there's just no way we can stop everything that happens to us. Naruto stated with a smile as wrapped an arm around her waist as they continued walking down the dirt road to the town where the client was waiting for them. Oh yeah, I just remembered something, why don't you just teleport us there? Mira questioned as Naruto just tilted his head down a bit to look at her curious face. Damn it, stop with the damn cute act. Hesate in thought as he decided to answer. I can only teleport to places I've been before or a place I can see at the time. He answered as Mira nodded her head in understanding until she was once again confused. Well, how did you teleport to Ira if you never went to the council meetings before the one last week? She questioned as Naruto chuckled. Don't you remember I traveled Earthland for 5 years before I joined Fairy Tail? Of course I was bound to find myself at Ira sometime during that trip. Naruto stated as he looked ahead of them and could see the outline of a town in the distance. We're almost there, this will be fun. Naruto said excitably as they entered the town 10 minutes later. So who is our client anyway? Mira questioned as she walked near the blonde god's slayer. It says here the client's name is, oh, they don't have a name, apparently they just call him Mayor. So I guess he's the mayor of the town. Naruto stated as Mira just giggled from his antics, it never got old with him around. It looks like it's still around 1 o'clock, so we should have enough time to talk to him and complete it. Mira stated as Naruto agreed with her. With Urza and company. So you telling me that you were on the train with a member of the guild we are trying to find and let him get away? Urza questioned in an annoyed voice as she stared at the trembling Natsu. Well, in my own defense, I was kicking his ass before the train started up again. Natsu stated as he tried to calm Urza down. Luckily Kara came to his rescue. Chan, you know his problem with transportation, just let it go, and plus I picked up the trail so we can just follow them now. Kara stated as she pointed to her nose, indicating that she could smell them. Fine, I understand. I'll drive while you tell me which direction. Urza stated as everyone climbed onto the vehicle, even a nervous Natsu who was not looking forward to traveling again. After traveling for about an hour they find themselves in front of Ashibana train station where they proceed to enter and find the whole Dark Guild waiting for them. I know you'd come, Fairy Tail. Someone yells from the top of the train as he gazes down at them. We've been waiting for you, took you longer than we expected, but now that you're here let's get this show on the road. He states as he continues to stare down to them. You're Eliger, are you not? Urza questions as she stares at the so-called death god. Meanwhile Lucy, Lisana, Happy and Kara was trying to figure out how to wake up the pink-haired dragon slayer from his death-like state. Natsu, wake up, it's time to go to work. Lucy yelled as she shook the dragon slayer that seemed to not even respond to her. All the while, Happy was blaming Lucy for carrying him as he called her transportation. Would you guys move out the way, I got this. Kara stated as she walked up to Natsu and placed a hand on his shoulder as she whispered, consuming foxfire. As Natsu's whole body was enveloped by the blue fire, causing him to wake up instantly and begin eating the fire as Lucy and Lisana face-palmed. All we needed was fire, that's ridiculous. They thought together as it seemed Urza was done having their little conversation. You see what do train stations have? He questioned as he flew near one of the speakers. He flew. Lucy yelled out in awe. It's wind magic. Happy yelled out as Kara decided to try and calm them down. Calm down, you two. Naruto-kun can do that in his sleep literally. She stated as it seemed to calm them a little, but what did it have to do with this situation? You're going to commit mass murder. Urza yelled out as the three returned their attention to the Scarlet Knight. This conversation was about to continue until. You're that asshole from the train. Natsu yelled as he finished up the last of the fire, pointing a finger towards Kageyama. This caused Eliger to gain multiple tick marks as flew towards a window. Never mind, I have places to be, so finish up here. Eliger yelled as he burst out the window, escaping from the scene. Natsu. Gray. Go after him, and if I find out you let him get away because you were fighting, you will wish you were dead. She told sternly as they nodded their heads quickly, but Natsu stopped right before leaving the area. Hey, Karani. You and I are fighting once we're done this mission. Natsu yelled as Kara just smiled and nodded her head with it. He was gone. So Urchan, how are we doing this? Are we actually going to fight or just completely destroy them because they look weak, and I really don't feel like wasting my time on weak opponents? Kara stated as she looked over to Urza, who seemed to be bit out of it. Hey Urchan, let me handle this, you look really out of it from the magic four-wheeler. Kara stated as she walked in front of Urza, giving her no way to decline. Is she really planning to take them all on by herself? Lucy questioned nervously. Don't worry, you're about to see why she's called the Crimson Devil. Lysana stated as she watched in mild excitement. It would be the second time she was able to see Kara fight. The first was when she was training with her sister. Okay, so you guys could come at me anytime you want. Kara stated as she looked extremely bored. With that, they all charged towards her, causing Kara to gain a bloodthirsty smirk. As she attacked as well. Biju Soul. QP tails. She yelled as her three tails went from 3 feet to 30 as she began to use her tails to destroy all the remaining members of the Dark Guild. It was over in 2 minutes. As she looked back, she saw Lucy gaping at her, while Lysana looked a little shocked as well, and Urza just had a small smile on her face. That was so boring, like seriously Urchan, I think you could have took them with the little magic you have left. Kara stated with a pout as she walked up to the Scarlet. Kara, you know not every fight will be fun. Urza stated as she stood back up. Now we need to find Natsu and Gray, then Eliger. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.